Fam, good morning to you. I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Today is Friday. It's December 13th, Friday the 13th. Here we go. Please take a minute and hit the thumbs up on this video. It helps the show's overall performance. That'll be the only time that I ask you to do this. So I appreciate you guys checking in and hitting the thumbs up on this video. I appreciate you guys for being here. We got T up in the house. T.
Good morning, everyone.
T, I appreciate you being here, as always, producing the show. Thank you so much. I'm sure you guys just saw, but one of the targets that Alabama has, and we're going to go over Alabama football news and college football news today, but Patrick Kutas, who is out of Arkansas, he just committed to Ole Miss, or that's the expectation. So he's an offensive lineman. Alabama will go back into the transfer portal, try to figure out who they could get in terms of an offensive lineman. And when you look to Kutas in terms of what he brought, I did like his game. There's plenty of offensive tackles out there, but clearly that is an area of concern for the Alabama Crimson Tide. So more on that in just a minute, but I wanted to just inform you that Kutas has committed to Ole Miss, or at least that is the expectation. All right. Also today on the show, we are going to go over, key visitors for this weekend. Alabama has a list of transfer portal targets, as I just showed you. So we'll talk about that. And also we'll hit on players that are playing in the bowl game and players that have not made an announcement yet in terms of, are they going to the NFL? Are they staying for 2025? We'll hit on some college football news, and that's what we'll open up with as everybody gets checked into the show. Okay. While everybody gets checked in, let's talk about some college football news. This is news as it happens, and I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. What's up, everybody, inside the comment box? We have Angel. What's going on? Jarvis, Nicole, Jonathan, Conrad, King, Chris from New Jersey, Jeff, Jonathan, Daniel. What's up? Everybody in the Undefeated, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. College football news as it happens. Wanted to hit on Travis Hunter. Now, look, if you're a college football fan, it's been pretty remarkable to see what Travis Hunter has done this year. Thumbs up for Travis Hunter as a college football player inside the comment box. I see you. Tim, what's going on? Javion Smith. I'm going to hit on some college football headlines while I let everybody get checked in, and then we'll move to Alabama football headlines. Thumbs up inside the comment box for Travis Hunter and just his overall game. Last night, check this out. In college football news and college football awards, Travis Hunter won the Biletnikoff and the Bednarik Award. So the Biletnikoff goes to the best wide receiver in the nation, and the Bednarik Award goes to the top defensive player in the nation. Pretty impressive for a young man to be able to win that type of award on each side of the football. Now, the young man out of Colorado, right, played for Colorado and Coach Prime, followed Coach Prime to Colorado. This season as a wide receiver, he caught 92 receptions for 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns. On the defensive side, he had 31 tackles and 4 interceptions, and I was like, that's not a lot of production in terms of on the defensive side. And then when I looked up his overall Pro Football Focus grade, and I'm talking about Travis Hunter if you're just getting checked in, he had a grade of 90.4 on the defensive side overall and a 91.1 grade in coverage. All right. Plus, he's a minus 900 favorite to win the Heisman Trophy on Saturday night. I see it's Javion's birthday inside the comment box. Hey, Javion, I really hope that you have an amazing birthday. My hope is that you continue to grow as a person, that you continue to surround yourself with people that are close to you, your family. I hope that you are doing well in your spiritual life, and I hope that you are healthy, and most importantly, I hope you are happy. So cheers to you on this beautiful Friday the 13th. Jarvis adds on Travis Hunter that he had 11 pass breakups. So the guy wins the Biletnikoff and the Bednarik Award. Props up for an incredible season for Travis Hunter. From what I've seen from mock drafts, it looks like Travis Hunter could be number 1, number 2 off the board, along with his teammate Shedeur Sanders. All right. Other college football awards, and I'm sure you saw this one last night. How about this one? Did you see that Seth McLaughlin the former Alabama center, he won the Remington Award, which goes out to the top center. T, your thoughts on that?
It's ironic, to say the least.
But look, did he improve on his game?
I guess he had to have, yeah.
Or was he trying to sabotage Alabama last season?
I mean, I don't think I'd go that far, but yeah.
All right, so Seth McLaughlin does a complete 180, and he wins the Remington Award, the top center. And you know what? Parker Brailsford did a hell of a job. We're going to talk about players that are coming back or players that haven't announced, but Parker Brailsford, one of them. I don't know if he was even up for the award. I don't think he was, but he had a hell of a season. He really did. And Seth McLaughlin, he didn't play in that Michigan game. He actually tore his Achilles later on in the season. Other awards, you have the Davey O'Brien Award, which goes to the best quarterback in college football. That went to Cam Ward out of Miami. Look at these stats, okay? Cam Ward, 4,100 yards this season, 36 touchdowns. Overall, Cam Ward, and remember he was at Incarnate World, I think, when he started out. But his college football career, 17,000 yards passing, 155 touchdowns since 2020. Wild. Cam Ward is your Davey O'Brien Award winner. The Doak Walker Award, which goes to the best running back in college football. No surprise, Ashton Jeanty, right, out of Boise State. 2,400 yards in the season with 29 touchdowns. The production that he did. Look, you can say what you want about Boise State making the playoffs. I honestly, come on. They're not a top 4 team, top 12 playoff team, arguably. But, I mean, you can't deny his overall talent. Almost 2,500 yards rushing and 29 touchdowns. Absolutely stellar season. As we spoke about, the Remington Award goes to the top center, Seth McLaughlin. Point number 3 right here, Bill Belichick. Still one of the biggest headlines in college football. I'll get to Alabama football news in just a minute. Let me wrap up these 5 points right here. I appreciate you guys being in the show. It's Friday the 13th. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Bill Belichick. And we've talked about him a lot. This is one of the biggest headlines in college football. KTK is mentioning Cam Scatteraboo from Arizona State be one of the top backs. Absolutely. He kind of reminds me almost of like a Christian McCaffrey. I think in terms of like his actual playing style. He's fast, tough to bring down, right? Catch the ball out of the backfield as well. But Bill Belichick going to North Carolina. He has 302 wins in the NFL. He's never coached in the NFL. His 302 wins in the NFL is second in the NFL all time behind Don Shula, who has 328 all-time wins. Bill Belichick said yesterday in his opening press conference at North Carolina, he said that it's a dream come true to coach at North Carolina. His father, I didn't know this, coached at North Carolina from 1953 to 1955. And according to his dad, Bill Belichick's first words were beat Duke. He grew up in North Carolina. I don't know if that's true, but I thought that was funny. Belichick is 72. He replaces Mac Brown, who is 73. So North Carolina likes the older approach. It's fine. Coach Saban, 73. You think Coach Saban could come back and coach T?
Oh, for sure.
100%. Will he come back?
I don't think so.
No way. He's living his best life. Let me ask you, fam, inside the comment box, do you think that Coach Saban will come back to coach college football? I think no. I think hell no. He's living his best life. All right, so Bill Belichick, he signs a 5-year deal with North Carolina, $10 million guaranteed throughout the first 3 years. I think that Bill Belichick will eventually go back to the NFL. That's just me. You also have Dan Mullen, named the head football coach at UNLV, former football analyst at ESPN. With Florida, he was 34-15 with the Gators. Actually played in the SEC championship game against Alabama. I think he was the head football coach when John Mechie had the hit around the world, right? Dan Mullen says, the past 2 years, a foundation has been set to compete for championships at UNLV, including being one game away from making the college football playoff. See what I'm saying? So, like, Dan Mullen is smart enough to know that if you coach in the Mountain West, all you have to do is win the Mountain West, and you're pretty much in the playoffs because that's going to be maybe the highest ranked group of 5 team, there's a loophole to make the college football playoffs. Think about this. Boise State barely beat UNLV 21-7. Come on. And they earned a bye inside the playoffs. So Dan Mullen going to UNLV. Last point I'm going to hit on in regards to college football news is you have Ryan Day expected to stay at Ohio State. It's out there. I didn't ever see anything that he was going to get fired. But when you lose 4 straight to Michigan, losing to Michigan for Ohio State fans is like an unforgivable sin. Like one time. You know the rivalry runs deep with Alabama and Auburn. Can you imagine if Coach Saban had this incredible career here at Alabama and he couldn't beat Auburn?
Yeah, no.
That wouldn't fly. Like that would be all that people could talk about. They'd be like, yeah, you could win, but you can't beat Auburn. You got to beat the rival. So Ryan Day, he's going to be at Ohio State. And look, Ohio State still in the playoffs, take on Tennessee where they are a 7-point favorite. All right. As we move to Alabama football news, I appreciate you guys being here. 222 up in the house. And the first thing that we hit on is the transfer portal targets. Now, there's a lot of these guys that are coming in to Tuscaloosa. The biggest one last night, KC Concepsion. He is here in Tuscaloosa. He posted a graphic that he's here in Tuscaloosa. Posted a picture of the traffic on McFarland. Have you been on McFarland Road inside the comment box? Yes or no? When's the last time you were in McFarland? Was there traffic? Was there barrels? You know what, T? They've actually made some progress in terms of the construction.
Yeah, it was better the other day when we were on it.
Yeah, it's starting to flow. Look, I don't know what will be done first, McFarland, in terms of the length and the construction, or the La Sagrada Familia out in Spain, right? The church. That's what they say. It's like, because you told me that when you grew up here in Tuscaloosa that there was still traffic.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was construction. There's always been construction on McFarland. It's
right?
Just never ending. There's
construction everywhere in Tuscaloosa if you've been here. So anyways, KC Conception in town. Getting him would be absolutely gigantic. And I kind of wonder, when you're talking about KC Conception, is it going to be a bidding war for him? And I say that because I think this is absolutely where we are at with NIL. And you look to where Alabama, who KC Conception is also looking at, South Carolina, Texas A&M. Does Texas A&M have more money than Alabama? Of course. Miami, that's another school. And Colorado, it's kind of like the flashy school right now, in Florida State. So I think the selling points for KC Conception is the brand. And I kind of point to the TV ratings, honestly. Like, if you want to come here, people are going to know about you if you play. And that would be my biggest question if I'm KC, is what is the offense going to look like next year, right? What is the offense going to look like? Who is going to be the quarterback? What is the process going to look like at quarterback going forward? Because from what I see right here, and if I look to the stats, and I know this year doesn't reflect next year, but Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard were the only wide receivers that caught passes. And if Jeremy Bernard hasn't announced if he's coming back, and you have Ryan Williams, the most talented wide receiver, where am I going to fit into this offense? And a guy like this, you got to think that he doesn't want to come here to be a blocker. I'm just saying, like, inside the comment box, do you think that KC Concepcion wants to come here and be a blocker? Like, they said that about Kendrick Law. These guys want the football. So I don't know if you sell him to be like, yo, you can come here and be a blocker. Let me ask you, do you think that KC Concepcion wants to come to Alabama to be a blocker, or do you think he wants 50 receptions? Patriot Life, what's up, man? Appreciate you being here. Chris from New Jersey is asking about Keelan Russell. Yes, he's an early enrollee. And if you missed it, Keelan Russell was presented the Player of the Year trophy by Trayvon Diggs. Daniel Adams, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here, man. I've been seeing you more and more inside the comment box. He's saying the offense is going to be totally different. And that's something that you have to talk about with Coach Kalen DeBoer, right? KTK brings up a really good point. He says if KC Concepcion, if he decides to commit to Alabama, that's kind of an indicator of what the offense is going to be next year, right? 100%. and I'm with you inside the comment box. Like, KC wants the football, right? You also have Luke Haas in as a tight end for Arkansas. Now, he's been injured. He was injured in 2023. He was injured in 2024. Talked to some people, and this is a guy, while he's battled injuries, he's a player that could play immediately here at Alabama and probably be tight end number one along with Josh Cuevas. I think in Alabama's system, they want two tight ends, right? And I think that Luke Haas is a tight end who could be a great complementary piece with Josh Cuevas. You need a tight end. You lose Robbie Oots. You lose C.J. Dupree. You need a tight end 100%. And if you're asking why Patrick Kutas is scratched out, it's because he committed to Ole Miss. Maybe you could put a logo of Ole Miss on there. Yeah, but Kutas just committed, or the expectation is that he's going to go to Ole Miss. Now I'm hearing the same thing about Luke Haas this morning. I haven't seen that anywhere else. Somebody told me that it's looking like Luke Haas could potentially commit to Ole Miss, but I have no idea. Stay close to your recruiting sites. I haven't seen that out. But I think Luke Haas could be another guy that Alabama is battling Ole Miss. Look, while Coach Kalen DeBoer did an amazing job in the transfer portal, and he continues to do a great job in the transfer portal, you got to say the same thing about Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin has resources. I'm going to always continue to say that I feel that he's outgrown that brand at Ole Miss. But I feel that he's still battling in the transfer portal. Kelby Collins is another prospect that's in this weekend. He's a defensive line bandit type player. And when we start to show a graphic later on the show in terms of players that we're still awaiting on announcements for, trying to figure out what's going to happen with LT Overton. Now, if LT Overton goes to the NFL, I think Kelby Collins would be a great piece. You don't know what's going to happen with Keelan Keeley, right? Or Jordan Renard, who could possibly be that bandit spot. Or maybe the bandit could be Cavante Henry. Cavante Henry, I think, just needs to add weight. And I saw a great interview with Courtney Morgan talking about the Alabama hit on all their pieces. Cavante Henry, look him up. Fantastic addition to the class of 2025 junior. I think he's a transfer rather than like a class. He signed with the class of 2025. Cavante Henry, look him up. The Arkansas offensive lineman, yeah, I can't really see that Ole Miss graphic tee. I know I tried to put it as well, and it didn't really blend well with the background. But Patrick Kutas off the board as the expectation is he's going to Ole Miss. Now, Gabriel Brownlow is a former 5-star. He's a defensive tackle that Alabama would love to get its hands on. Now, with Tim Smith leaving and being out of exhausting his eligibility, you need another defensive tackle to come in. And when we talk about roster management, we show the graphics of the roster management. Tim Keenan is the guy we're watching. I don't think Tim Keenan goes. He's graduated. Tim Keenan's great. But you need another defensive tackle. So in a perfect world, you get Kelby Collins to replace LT Overton and Gabriel Brownlow to replace Tim Smith. Jay Bake is asking about any other offensive line targets. I haven't seen any right now. But I've seen several offensive tackles that have been going into the portal. Just not, I'm sure there's other targets that'll come in. So, Ole Miss, they're going to win theirs, and it looks like they won with Patrick Kutas. Corey, what's up, man? Asking for Cheetah if he has any eligibility. Well, you know, I don't know who would be Cheetah on this team, but reading that article with Courtney Morgan this morning, he was basically kind of saying the Cheetah is Latsier Brooks. And he said to quote, and you could read that article on 24/7. He was saying that Latier Brooks is straight up scary with the ball in his hands. Latier Brooks is a class of 2025 player who comes out of the state of New Jersey. I think he scored over 30 touchdowns this past season. He's a slot type wide receiver. You pair him up with Derek Meadows. That's why I continue to say, if you watch my videos, I would love to get KC. Absolutely. But if you don't get KC, don't have a pity party, because look at the talent that's returning. Jay Beck, what I do in terms of looking for the transfer portal guys, like the overall volume, is I just go to On3. On3 has a transfer portal database. It's the only database that I've seen that tracks the transfer portal. Jimmy Williams asking if Bill Belichick will call Saban to be his DC. No. But those guys are friends, right? Two great coaches. Hey, coach, come over. No. I don't think that would happen, but that would be hilarious. That would break the internet for sure. And then you have a Nebraska tight end over here. Nate Boerkicher, a tight end in Nebraska. And, most of these guys have dealt with injuries. Boerkicher is another player that Nebraska, they don't want to lose him. He's probably going to go somewhere else, obviously, because he's in the transfer portal, but I think Nebraska is doing everything in its willpower, NIL-wise, to keep him. So maybe if Lucas goes to Ole Miss as well, maybe we turn our attention to Nate Boerkicher out of Nebraska. You imagine Saban and Bill Belichick coaching together? I would love to see it. But I don't, they've had interviews before where they've gone one-on-one, and they're really different. I mean, Saban clearly has this great personality. I think Bill Belichick's personality is hidden a little bit. But there's some good interviews out there. Robert Mahan saying that Dylan Stewart just got $1.5 million to stay with South Carolina. Oh, yeah. I mean, just recently we saw Jalen Daniels for SMU. He didn't announce he's staying because of, he wants to be with the team. He's got a new deal. Think about, these guys are in the portal, but they're also, talking roster management in terms of restructuring. This is crazy. Players are right now restructuring their contracts, probably with Alabama as well. It's happening everywhere. Restructuring. Based off my performance this year, coach. Caught 50 balls, 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. I was making $525. My agent, who is right here with me, we have presented you a new contract for this next season. We want 1.5. We want to make sure that I play over 90% of the time. And, also with that, I'll get this other player to commit, who my agent also represents. You think that's happening, T?
Yeah.
What if you see what I'm saying? Like, what if an agent represents 2 players?
Yeah.
He's able to not only restructure the contract of that player to stay at the school, but also bring in another. I don't know if it's happening here, but I promise you, these players are restructuring their contracts based off performance. That's why, like, a player like Ryan Williams, if he was to be able to go, I don't know if this is happening, I'm just making this up, but if you were to go into the office, Ryan Williams, and you're like, yo, I came here and I did everything that I could, coach, for the team. Based off the metrics that my agent has given me, I'm being paid 1.2. We're looking at 7.5. And I understand that's higher than AJ Gymnasta basketball, but that's what I bring to the university. And actually, from my understanding, is I brought in $50 million of revenue to the university. So, I definitely want to stay here. I want to be a part of Alabama. I love it here. But we're going to have to go up a heavy amount because I proved it on the field with my work ethic. And just like you got your $10 million a year, I want to be able to perform and be paid based off my skill set. This is what we're asking for. We're asking for 7.5 per year. And if we can get it, to be extended out, I'll even come back an extra year. So these type of conversations, I'm sure, are happening. This is the world of college football. Patrick Kutas committed to Ole Miss. This is kind of news before news. But this is happening right now. So Ole Miss is able to win one in the transfer portal. It looks like Luke Haas is also looking at Ole Miss as well. He's also out of Arkansas, right? Quincy, what's up? I see you inside the comment box. Jamarcus, Byron, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Talked about KC Conception. He posted this last night. He was in T-Town. You see all those brake lights? It looks like that's on McFarland to me, T.
Well,
right?
I think so.
See, because I'm looking down here at this bottom right.
Like kind of near the mall?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Where's this billboard
Like,
out? You know what? Is that the CVS at the corner?
I think it is.
Yeah, so this is McFarland and 15th.
Midtown.
Right? This is McFarland and 15th. Right? Because you can go right.
I think so.
Huh. But that doesn't, I don't think that says 15th up here.
I'm trying to see what that.
Anyways, KC's up in town. This is a transfer portal tracker in case you've been somewhere or you just want a graphic to where you can be like, who has left? Where has everybody gone? Dylan Lonergan, Caleb Odom, Danny Lewis, Hunter Osborne, Jaheim Otis, Jalil Hurley, Keanu Coe. He's the only player that has committed to another school that has left so far. Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice. I haven't even heard anything on Kendrick Law. Somebody told me something about Kobe Prentice in Michigan State. I haven't seen that. I heard it. Naquil Bentrade, don't know where he's going. And I think Miles McVay. T, what we see? We saw Colorado and Illinois, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Brash is like, I wish I could go to my job and ask for $10 an hour raise based on my performance. And that's the thing, man, is these players are now pros. And the amount of revenue that the universities are generating off their TV contracts with ABC, that's why you would never hear Greg Burns say, well, Alabama's going to drop out of the SEC. They can't. He said about, they're going about non-conference opponents or whatever, or getting weaker opponents. They lost to 3 conference opponents. What's hurting Alabama is playing in the SEC because it's so good. But you could never leave the SEC. Never. And I guess I'm seeing stuff that the SEC wants North Carolina and Notre Dame. You think Notre Dame wants to come to the SEC? Notre Dame, if Notre Dame came to the SEC, they wouldn't win 5 games. 5. You imagine how stupid it would. Notre Dame has it made in the shade right now. Notre Dame doesn't have to play conference championship game. They don't have to play weekly elite competition. They have a huge brand. They get to be on NBC. What, their toughest game was Texas A&M, Army, and Navy? Notre Dame would never come to the SEC. Even in basketball, they would struggle. They would struggle all the time. Notre Dame would become absolutely the laughingstock of the SEC. 100%. I've mentioned this plenty of times. Coach Kalen DeBoer has a really high hit rate in the transfer portal. I saw somebody inside the comment box yesterday was like, he only brought over 2 people from Washington. No, he didn't. He brought in several guys from Washington, but he also brought in several guys from across the country. Let us recap. Some guys are reserves. Some guys started. Austin Mack, reserve, came in, threw a touchdown pass to Rico Scott. Josh Cuevas, reserve, came in, did work when his name was called on. Actually really excited about him for next season. Jeremy Bernard. Cam W., I didn't know that 24/7 has a database portal as well. Thank you. I'll definitely check it out. Appreciate you. Jeremy Bernard, starter, came in, balled out. Caden Proctor, yes, he was in the transfer portal. He was at Iowa. He was. Came back. LT Overton, he was at Texas A&M. He had an amazing season. Damani Jackson. Yeah, Damani Jackson is a Coach Saban transfer because he came here right before Coach Saban retired. But still, he could have left again. But Coach DeBoer was able to keep him, right? Deshaun Jones, reserve, played a little bit this year at corner. Keon Sabb came in as a starter out of Michigan. King Mack, right? Reserve out of Penn State. Graham Nicholson, the Lou Groza Award winner out of Miami of Ohio. And then Dylan Lonergan shouldn't be on this graphic because he's not a transfer. How did Dylan Lonergan sneak into this graphic? Oh, man. Dylan Lonergan, you sneaky dude, man. That's hilarious. I made this graphic too, so I must have added him. I was like, wait, is that Dylan Lonergan? All right. And I still don't feel that Graham Nicholson should have beat out Will Reichard. Will Reichard got robbed. That last year, he got robbed. Meldridge inside the comment box saying Dylan should have stayed. I appreciate you being here. I understand why he left. It was like the guy was never going to get on the field. I think he would have competed as competitors do for the job, but he's not going to beat out Ty Simpson. Austin Mack, it looked like he was already quarterback number 3 over him. And then Keelan Russell, right? I think that guy, he's going to be it too. Quincy Mitchell inside the comment box. Do you want to read Quincy's comment when you see it?
He's saying, Kyle, this is called college football. We are overhyping the SEC. If we are honest, the last 20 years, it's only been 2 teams keeping the SEC relevant, and that's Bama and Georgia. Every team can beat and will.
You know, I think I agree with you, Quincy, in that component, in that Georgia and Texas were pretty much kind of the lifeblood of the SEC. But I think what happened now, and because of the transfer portal and NIL, is it made a lot of these teams now relevant, right? I mean, teams are a lot better than they were from the SEC this year compared to like 5 years ago. Because when I first came here in the first, 5-6 years that I covered Alabama football, the SEC honestly was pretty boring. Missouri, boring. Tennessee, boring. Arkansas, boring. Vanderbilt, and what happened is people don't know how good Vanderbilt was because they rebuilt their entire roster from NIL, right? The transfer portal. They think that it's the same Vanderbilt that it's always been. Erase every single thing that you learned about college football from the past 50 years. We started a brand new college football this year. Everything going forward is new. And when you're looking at Alabama's football schedule next year, are they going to run the table? I think a lot of these teams are going to be equal, and the parity in the SEC is going to continue to limit Alabama's overall chances to win another national championship game. And that's just facts for all the teams. But yeah, Jarvis, thank you. The gap between the haves and have-nots has been erased. I think all these teams are going to be equally as talented going forward. And I think the team that's able to have the best coaching and the most money, they're going to have the best opportunity to win. But as we've seen before, you can't just buy a team. Like Ohio State tried that. Ole Miss, right? They're trying that. They didn't even make the playoffs. Alabama, right? And that's another thing, too. The one thing that Alabama still does have is that brand. and the TV exposure. And when you come to Alabama, you're expected to be on TV and to get coached up and to eventually go to the NFL. But I think now we're in a whole new world of college football. One more time, let's talk about Gabriel Brownlow. 6'3", 310 pounds. Someone inside the comment box said that Brownlow's washed. I don't know if that's true, but that's what someone said inside the comment box. Former 5-star. Looks like he's also interested in Vanderbilt, South Carolina, North Carolina, along with Alabama. 63 snaps in 2023, 2 years ago, at nose tackle. Just 16 snaps in 2024. Alabama's, a lot of their transfer portal targets have been injured, banged up, right? Guys didn't play this year, so they're looking for another opportunity. I kind of wish that wasn't the case. I feel like guys, like if you're injured, that doesn't mean that you can't be effective at your own school. But I wouldn't be mad at all. I think you guys would be really happy if Brownlow was to commit to Alabama. Alabama needs a defensive tackle 100%. We mentioned Nate Boerkicher, right? Tight end out of Nebraska. Still on the board as well. T, will you read out Michael Curtis's comment inside the comment box?
He's saying, I totally agree, Kyle. We shouldn't be surprised if we miss the playoffs again next year. College football has changed, and the portal created so much parity. Whoever schedules is the easiest is in.
Thank you. That's it. And it's just changing one out-of-conference game, picking up, swapping out Ole Miss for Western Kentucky or something like that. That's not going to change because you continue to battle with SEC weekly opponents. And there's going to always be parity within the SEC. There's always going to be these 5-6-way ties. And you have to make the ACC happy. You have to make the Big 12 happy. You have to make the Group of 5 highest-ranked team happy. You have to make the one independent team that doesn't play in a conference happy. You shouldn't have to make anybody happy. It should be these are the 12 best teams, period. And the only way I think that you could get to a best 12-team format is if the SEC and the Big 10, if they just broke away and they started their own conference. And that was the league. And then you made it clear. You're like, listen, the first thing that we're doing is we are eliminating people in a room picking who the best teams are. This is ridiculous. This is the stupidest thing that we've ever done. So what we're going to do is we are going to divide this into how the NFL does it, based off the Big and based off the SEC. You are going to have to win your division. Division champs will qualify. And we're going to follow the NFL format, but we are not going to let 15 people pick who goes into the championship or to the tournament. The other option is we can just let Coach Saban decide the teams in the tournament. So, but the people that are like on this committee, like picking teams, like, you guys really want like somebody like me picking the teams in the tournament? No. No, I'm not qualified to pick teams to go into a tournament. But like, I don't know. I would argue that I probably know a little bit more college football than some of the people. At least one person on the committee.
I would agree with that.
Somebody on the committee leaked the stuff to
yeah, they did. I was like, there's no way that's true.
It's dirty. It's dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talked about Kelby Collins, Luke Haas. All right. This is interesting. This is our fanciest graphic yet. Good work, T. It's a lot of undecideds. I like that picture of Parker Brailsford. He looks happy. Remember when his helmet kept flying off?
It's his hair.
Well, that's what people were saying. But everybody's helmet was flying off this year. I have never seen more helmets fly off. Even Caden, my son, his helmet flew off.
Flew off, yeah, a couple of times.
Caden, he plays linebacker here at Northridge High School. He was in so I was watching one of his games, and he was in on one of the tackles, and his helmet flew off. And just so happened to be, like when it was a huge scrum, so everyone was falling on him, and he didn't have his helmet.
Yeah, the one time.
And as a parent, if your son plays football, you're like, oh my, you know what to expect because it's football. But I was like, man, the one thing, the most important thing that this dude needs right now
Is his helmet?
Is his helmet?
20 yards away.
Oh man, that was I was nervous. He was fine. So players we're watching, and what we mean by that is like guys we feel based on their eligibility could come back for 2025 or leave to the NFL. Now, the only player that has made, I guess, an announcement or said that he's coming back is Parker Brailsford, which is tremendous news. Like out of a 10 out of 10, it's like a 12 out of 10, 20 out of 10. Like having your center back and somebody of this high caliber is monumental, to be honest. Okay. But I'm going to run through the list and kind of give you my take on which players that we feel might go, might stay. So here we go. Do I feel Deontay Lawson, inside linebacker at Alabama, is going to go to the NFL? Not anymore. I think after he was injured, I don't think that he had the season that he could have. His overall skill set screams NFL. But being that he has another season to come back, be healthy, compounded on the fact that I haven't seen Alabama be actively going after an inside linebacker, kind of tells me that Deontay Lawson might be thinking about coming back for next season. Alabama, if Deontay Lawson leaves, you're losing Deontay Lawson, you're losing Jahad Campbell. I think Jahad Campbell's 100% going to the NFL, and you're losing Justin Jefferson. Next year's inside linebacker room is going to need a transfer, or you have a healthy Deontay Lawson come back, which would be tremendous news for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Again, no decision, but I think he's personally staying. Damani Jackson, I don't know. I always go back and forth on this one, and I continue to ask you guys inside the comment box about Damani. I feel that he has a lot to think about because of the fact that this season he was very successful. Damani played like the player we thought Damani Jackson was going to be like. I still think that he has room to go in terms of his ceiling. I don't think he's maxed out his potential. I think if he does come back, he might be he will continue to increase his draft stock 100%. I think he still has room to grow. Jarvis is saying Damani's staying. That would be great. Jeremy Bernard, I kind of fit in that same category with Damani Jackson. I feel that he had a really great season. I still feel he has a little bit of room. He's probably close to his ceiling, more so than Damani Jackson. And that's not a knock. I think Jeremy Bernard's ready to go. He's a very talented wide receiver. Good speed, good hands, runs good routes. I think you have a monster season if he comes back again. Like the same type of season exactly that he had this season, he'll have next season. But I don't know if he's going to go or stay. Jaden Roberts. At the beginning of the season, if you would have asked me, I would have said Jaden Roberts is gone. Like he's going to have an amazing season and go. I think things started to trend the opposite way before the first game of the season. I think Jaden Roberts got injured, and I think that he did everything in his power, being AKA the Hulk, to play through probably an injury that we won't know about until next year. This guy was a warrior. I promise you, there was no way that this guy was close to 70% this year. I think he's just strong enough to kind of shoulder through and to play through it, which says a lot about his overall kind of that dog mentality. Jalen Milroe, I'm still going to say that I believe that he leaves to the NFL. It's the most polarizing topic. We continue to talk about the young man. And you look at his ceiling. Where is he at? I think he's closer to his ceiling. I don't think that if he comes back, there's this monumental change of next year. I think if he comes back, it's the same exact offense and the same exact production that you saw this year. Now, I think that'll change when he goes to the NFL. But I'm staying with Milroe is gone to the NFL. And if you're out there and if you're mad about some of these players playing in the bowl game, you need to get past that because these guys have every single right to finish with their teammates. Jam Miller, I think he comes back. I love the running back room. I think that he needs more production. There's not a lot of running backs that are taken in the first round, second round. I would suspect that Jam Miller comes back. And if he comes back, and if you have Justice Haynes and you have Richard Young, you have a three-headed monster. How are you going to feed all those guys? I don't know. I would hate to have that problem, but all those running backs need to eat. Jahad Campbell, 100% think he's gone. I would say that based on his skill set and his overall playing ability, I would say he's a top 20 pick for sure. I've been saying top 15. That's how excited about Jahad Campbell I am. I think he's very versatile in terms of a linebacker. LT Overton. I had no idea that LT Overton would be this good. He really impressed me this entire season. He didn't really have any games where he was too down. He played high. He had some really great defensive plays. LT Overton, I think, has a lot to think about with the NFL. Now, if he comes back, imagine if LT Overton comes back, and imagine if Deontay Lawson come back, and imagine if Damani Jackson comes back. Now you're cooking on the defensive side. But I think, like Marcus and Ricky are saying that LT's gone. I think he had just a great year. Parker Brailsford, he's the lone guy so far that is returning. And Tyler Booker, I think he's 100% gone as well. I think Tyler Booker and Jahad Campbell will be first-round picks in the 2025 NFL Draft. So there's kind of my assessment on the players that we are watching that could leave or stay for the 2025 season. We had an opportunity to hear from Coach Kalen DeBoer as well as Jalen Milroe. The first interview that I'm going to play, this only lasts 3 minutes, is a short interview with Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about the ReliQuest Bowl. The second part of the interview is Jalen Milroe talking about his decision to play in the bowl game. He says that he has not made a decision on the NFL, and then talks about five-star Keelan Russell. The interview we tried to play yesterday, we weren't able to get the audio to come through. I've tested this. It looks like we're good to go. It's only 3 minutes, so I'm going to play that interview, and then I'm going to come back. Give me 1 second.
Is what we're building for. That's what we work for. And they, again, every time they get a chance to compete, they enjoy that.
Now, you've obviously taken over for Nick Saban as head coach now. Can you just kind of describe how you've adapted into that role?
Adapted into what?
Into the role.
Into the role? Yeah, you become head coach, and it's both feet in, right? And every day is a day where you're trying to grow the culture and build on build to the vision that you have set forth. That's on the field, that's off the field, and it starts with hiring your staff. And so just all season long or all year long, it's something you're just pouring into. You don't even get a chance to sit back and think about where you're at or how far you've come until really afterwards, and you have to reflect and then do it all over again. So it's awesome being the head coach here. Love our team, love the fan base, love everything that comes along with being here at Alabama.
About what your future plans are at Alabama with the bowl game and going forward. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. The mission right now is to complete the season. We have one more mission ahead, which is attacking Michigan, and that's the whole thought process right now. Being our absolute best, we can take care of our business when it goes to playing in Tampa. So it's all about going 1-0, preparing the right way, and so that's my focus is winning this game, preparing the right way, take care of my body so we can be our best us.
So you will be playing?
I will be playing.
And have you made a decision as it relates to the NFL yet?
No, my thought process right now is finish this game out against Michigan, and so just being my absolute best I can be for my teammates and coaches.
Jim, what was the decision to play? Was there a doubt? We were kind of in the situation a few years ago with Bryce, and he decided to play, and the fans really loved it. He had a great game and kind of propelled him. What was it for you?
Yeah. So one of our core values is finish, and despite anything, we entered the season together, and we'll finish the season with my teammates, my brothers, and it's all about unfinished business. We have one more game on our schedule, and I think it was just ultimately just doing what was best for our team, for the team, and finishing the season out.
After y'all signed another Texas quarterback, what's your relationship like with Keelan?
and kind of how would you scout out?
Yeah, I'm excited for his future. With him coming and enrolling at Alabama, I remember my first time enrolling, committing, going through my recruiting process, and just the opportunity for him to be the absolute best at the University of Alabama. What a great program, the standard here, and so I'm excited for him and his future. He's a Texas kid, I'm a Texas kid, and so to have another Texas guy in the building is going to be awesome. I know he's going to be coached absolutely at his best by Coach Sheridan, Coach DeBoer, and so he's in good hands being here.
Have you watched his film?
I have. Yeah, he looks really good, man. He's a good player, really good player, dynamic. Man, he's a special cat, and there's a reason why he's the #1 quarterback in the state of Texas, in the country. And he's a big-time recruit because of who he is as a person.
So that was 2 short interviews. The first one courtesy of the Rely Quest Bowl, and the second one courtesy of the University of Alabama. That's Jalen Milroe and Coach Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer talking about the upcoming Rely Quest Bowl, which will be on the 31st, and then Jalen Milroe talking about the fact that he hasn't made a decision to, decide to go to the NFL or is coming back, and also talking about the fact that Keelan Russell is coming in. Now, a lot of people, if you saw the full interview, it's not much longer than that, are saying that based on what Jalen Milroe said, he's coming back because he said it'll be nice to have another Texas guy in the room. You could read it either way, like a Texas guy coming to the locker room and being part of Alabama, or you could look at it as, I guess like Jalen slipped up and he's coming back. T, can you read this graphic up? It's by Jalen Milroe. Do you see it on the screen?
He says, "It was more than my message to DeBoer. We started the season out against Western Kentucky together. We're going to finish it together. I told him we're going to finish the season with a bang."
All right, that's Jalen Milroe on yesterday. I think that was a media opportunity. We also looked at Alabama's football schedule this week. It was released a couple nights ago. Adam is saying the pinwheel is rigged.
Only for Adam.
Yeah, only for Adam. We talked about this and we kind of broke it down. Are there any other thoughts that you've had about this schedule for 2025, fam, inside the comment box? I think it's a challenging schedule, and as we were kind of alluding to earlier, and I saw Dan inside the comment box, he's watching the show right before jury duty. So, hey, man, duty calls, man. I appreciate you doing what you got to do. But I think when you look at this 2025 schedule, it's very challenging, and I think that Alabama certainly will drop games. Not saying that they're not going to be good or not a playoff team, but based on the parameters of how you make the playoffs, they take teams with really good schedules and really good, not really good schedules, really good records. And I don't know what Alabama's record will be, but I think it is a favorable schedule. But also there are some pitfalls. I think from September 27th through October 25th, that's a lot of meat right there, right? Georgia on the road. Vanderbilt, you're going to be mad at them, right? And who knows who's going to be their quarterback because Diego Pavia is taking that all the way up to the federal courts. Missouri, at Columbia, Eli Drinkwitz will have a good defense. Tennessee's quarterbacks will be back. South Carolina, I promise you, has already circled this game on October 25th as being kind of a redemption game for them because, number one, Alabama beat them last season, but also I think Shane Beamer feels that Alabama is one of the teams that kept them out of the playoffs, and I think that he wants people to know that his team is here, but you got to win on the field. Last time was in 2019. That was when Najee went crazy, and the quarterback at that point was Tua Tagovailoa. I always remember that play from Najee in that game. And then on November 8th, you have LSU come into Tuscaloosa, and Garrett Nussmeier said that he's coming back. And I think a lot of that, so guess who's getting that $1 million from Bryce? Remember, because Bryce Underwood was clearly, he wasn't going to LSU for free. So Bryce Underwood is leaving to Michigan to go get $10 million. So whatever LSU was going to pay Underwood goes right back into Garrett Nussmeier. So Garrett Nussmeier is now a multimillionaire, or whatever LSU could pay. I think it was like 1.5 or something like that. You have Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold's gone. I saw that he might be visiting Auburn, right, as I've spoken about, and then Eastern Illinois and Alabama, they've never met before, and you take on Auburn. So even if you were to switch out, right, the non-conference opponents, Louisiana Monroe, Wisconsin, Eastern Illinois, right, let's just say you took out Wisconsin and added on, a Mercer. It doesn't change the fact that your schedule is now going to become easier. Wisconsin sucks. Their coach is good, but Alabama is going to beat the brakes off Wisconsin again. Your hard games are Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, LSU, and Auburn. Those 5 games are more challenging than any game that Notre Dame is going to play, than Indiana is going to play, than Boise State is going to play, right? Then UNLV is going to play, then North Carolina is going to play. Those 5 games are going to determine if Alabama can make the playoffs. The SEC, under this new window of playoff formats, they're penalized. Matt, what's up, man? Appreciate you, man. Yeah, this is live, man. Good to see you inside the comment box. Today is Friday the 13th, just wrapping around, talking Alabama football as it happens. We'll recap the top of the show. And in case you missed it, you have Kutas, who was a target for Alabama, Patrick Kutas. Offensive lineman, played guard this past year, tackle in 2023. Looks like he is trending to commit to Ole Miss. So Alabama will go back to the drawing board in terms of bringing back an offensive lineman, a very high priority in need. But my point is that the schedule is challenging enough without the conference team, without the out-of-conference teams. That's not – you lost to 3 conference opponents last year or this past season, right? And by the way, I think Alabama beats up on Michigan. I don't know what the score will be. I think Alabama's favored by like 11.5 or something like that, but I think Alabama takes it to Michigan. You have a lot of reasons to beat Michigan. Number one, Michigan beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl. That was a game that Alabama, they had in my mind. There was opportunities for Alabama to win that game. Michigan goes on to win a national championship. That was a loss that didn't sit well for a lot of people. That was Nick Saban, the final game that he coached at the University of Alabama. The other thing why Alabama has a reason to beat Michigan is that Michigan beat Coach Kalen DeBoer in last year for the college football national championship game. Right? I think you forget about some of those things. So while Coach Kalen DeBoer, and it's completely different teams, it's different coaches, all that stuff, it's still the same brand, right? Alabama, Michigan. What you don't want to happen is you don't want to lose to Michigan. Is Michigan even ranked? I think they're unranked, right? And Michigan just beat Ohio State. So never say never. I think it's good news that the players that are captains are playing in this bowl game. Because I think you need your best players to be able to beat Michigan. I saw somebody, talking about the fact that they would like to see kind of one quarterback play 1 quarter, then 2, then 3. No, you got to win this game. I think you need to win this game because of brand integrity. Yeah, see, Michigan's unranked. Could you imagine if Michigan wins this game? This game is more important to Michigan. It's as equal. Alabama has to win this game. A loss to Michigan, to an unranked Michigan, that would mean that Coach Kalen DeBoer in his first year will lose to 3 unranked teams.
Justified in leaving us out.
Exactly. Say that again, T.
And it would mean that they were justified in leaving us out of the playoffs.
And guess where he's at? Ward Manuel is the playoff spokesman for the college football playoffs. Mm-hmm. You know where he's the AD at? Michigan.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
So, and you're right. And I think that's true too, because look, when you look to the college football bowls, which we haven't even showed on the screen, the bowls, outside of what I just told you, all of these bowls are meaningless. And Coach Saban said this a million miles away. He said, when you start to go to a 12-team playoff bracket, the other games, the bowl games, which used to have pageantry, nobody cares about them. 100%. Like, name another bowl game you're interested about. None. All you're interested in is the playoffs and Alabama versus Michigan. I haven't even looked at the other bowl games. The bowl games are weird, how they have some of these teams matched up. Mike Ford, I see you inside the comment box. Well, Let me recap the show real quick at the top of the hour, and I appreciate you guys being here on Bama Football on YouTube. Started out talking some general college football, went over some college football awards, and as we were talking about college football news and Alabama football news, I think the biggest thing is the transfer portal, right? The transfer portal targets. KC Concepsion, he's in Tuscaloosa right now. Luke Haas is a tight end that Alabama absolutely wants. It looks like he's kind of trending towards Ole Miss. Patrick Kutas, who's an offensive lineman out of Arkansas, looks like he's going to commit to looks like he's going to commit to Ole Miss. Which would be a big pickup for Lane Kiffin. And same thing for Luke Haas. I think he could probably go to Ole Miss as well. But there's still a lot of transfers on the board. And Coach Kalen DeBoer was able to do a really good job in the transfer portal. So the transfer portal ends on December 28th for players to, I believe, go into the portal. But they have an allotted time to make their decision. But, of course, they got to get enrolled in school and whatnot. But for Alabama, the transfer portal for players leaving goes into January 5th because where its bowl game sits. So the 28th is like the normal cutoff window, but because Alabama's playing on the 31st, they got a couple more days for players to hit the portal. That's going to be interesting. Like if it's the same type of offense and players are frustrated, and that could be the other thing. If you lose that game, right, and it's the same type of offense and these players get mad, and who knows, maybe you see more players hit the transfer portal after the bowl game. And we still don't know, I know, we still don't know which players are coming back. Most importantly, Jalen Milroe. I appreciate you guys being here for our Friday segment. Today is Friday, December 13th. As news happens, we got you covered right here at Bama Football on YouTube. Please remember to hit the thumbs up on this video and continue to support Bama Football on YouTube, and as well as all the great content creators out there. There's a lot of great content creators, big YouTube channel, small. Definitely support the great content creators. And when you think Alabama football or breaking news, come back to Bama Football on YouTube. I'd appreciate that. Have a great evening tonight. If we do go live again today, it would somehow maybe be in the afternoon, but we have a Christmas party that we're going to. And as Fromm says, go Army, beat Navy. So probably look for our next live on Saturday or as news happens. All right. Appreciate you guys. Be blessed. Stay safe. Be good people. And we'll catch up with you soon.